Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the WhyThoPodcast. My name is Jay, and today we'll be recapping the top players from the 2024 NFL season. Let's get it. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications, check out WhyTho Gaming, check out WhyTho on the Go, check out the socials, follow for more, and share this video. So as y'all see today, it's just me. DeLeon and Ryan are obviously not able to make today's episode. Also, before we start, Ryan would like to say a few words regarding his prediction he made back in June about the Miami Dolphins. Here's the clip.
You already know, Miami Dolphins going to the Super Bowl this season. I can guarantee Tua Tagovailoa, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Tyreek Hill Offensive Player of the Year, Chop Robinson, Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's the thing. I forgot.
All right, we're gonna clip that, and we're gonna see this in February.
Clip it.
Let's see.
We're gonna clip that. Clip that.
Yo, what's up, guys? Sorry for everything I said about the Miami Dolphins going to the Super Bowl. We didn't even make playoffs. Talking about playoffs, man. Yeah, I was wrong about Tua, wrong about Chop Robinson. Whoopsies. This upcoming season, I'm not going to say anything. I am not going to say anything about the Miami Dolphins winning the Super Bowl, Tua winning MVP, none of that stuff. I'm not going to say anything. So, yeah, go Dolphins.
Thank you, Ryan, and now let's get on with the video. So I have 4 segments for y'all today. The first one will be the top 10 offensive players of the 2024 NFL season, not in particular order. Segment 2 will be the top 10 defensive players of the year, not in particular order as well. Segment 3 will be talking about the top offensive and defensive rookies of the year. And segment 4 will be talking about the best NFL games of the season. So let's get on with the first segment, and it's the top 10 offensive players of the 2024 NFL season, not in particular order. So first, I have Lamar Jackson. Jackson followed up his MVP season with 4,172 yards, 41 touchdowns, and only 4 picks. I believe he should have been MVP over Josh Allen. I'm sure others agree as well, but to each their own, I guess. So next up, I have Joe Burrow. So Burrow returns from a wrist injury and posts 4,918 passing yards, 43 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Next, I have Josh Allen. Josh Allen led the Bills to the AFC Championship and also won his first ever NFL MVP and put up 3,731 yards, 28 touchdowns to go along with 6 picks. A solid year for Allen, but I don't believe he should have been MVP. Next, we have Triple Crown winner Jamar Chase. Jamar put up 127 receptions for 1,708 yards and 17 touchdowns. So a solid year for Jamar. Could have been Offensive Player of the Year. Obviously, Saquon Barkley won Offensive Player of the Year, but you know, it's whatever. Speaking of Barkley, next player we have Saquon Barkley as he joins the Eagles and wins his first ever Super Bowl, as well as Offensive Player of the Year, and posted 345 carries for 2,005 yards and 13 touchdowns. So take his year back from New York last year to now, obviously, he's back to his old ways. Next, we have Jared Goff. So Goff led Detroit to a historic NFL season as he put up 4,629 yards, 37 touchdowns to go along with 12 picks. It was to me it was a little shocking how they lost to Washington in the divisional round of the playoffs, but obviously they had so many injuries, but obviously that's not an excuse. They still had to play. Also, Goff just threw so many picks against Washington. Like, I didn't see that coming. Next, we have Derrick Henry. So Henry, he's always consistent, so he continues to dominate with 325 carries for 1,922 yards and 16 touchdowns. So another solid year for Derrick Henry. Also, him being his first season with the Ravens, with Lamar, with that great offense. Too bad they couldn't go, to AFC Championship or even Super Bowl, but successful year. Next, we have Justin Jefferson. So I know he missed time last year due to, I think, a hamstring injury. I might be wrong, but I could check on that. But he missed 7 games last season. So this season, Jefferson put up 103 receptions for 1,533 yards and 10 touchdowns. So a great bounce back year. But what's crazy is last year, even when he was hurt, he did have over 1,000 yards in like 10 games, which is kind of crazy. Next, I have Bijan Robinson. So Bijan Robinson put on a show this season and posted 304 carries for 1,456 yards and 14 touchdowns. So obviously a rising star in this league, a rising star running back in this league. I would like to see him do more things in Atlanta. I would like to see Atlanta win some more. But obviously, they got a young quarterback in Michael Penix because I'm pretty sure they might trade Kirk Cousins. I'm not sure about that. But Atlanta can have a solid team. They actually almost made the playoffs because the Bucks ended up, sneaking in. And yeah. But I do have two honorable mentions players, and they're both from Detroit Lions. One, I have Jahmyr Gibbs, and the other, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. So both put together really amazing seasons, double-digit touchdowns for each person. Segment 2, we have the top 10 defensive players of the 2024 NFL season, not in particular order. So first, I would like to start off with Patrick Surtain. So Surtain won Defensive Player of the Year as he put up 34 solo tackles, a forced fumble, 4 picks, and 12 passes defended. So a solid year. I did not see this coming out of him to win Defensive Player of the Year. I knew he was always good. To me, I used to always take Sauce Gardner over Patrick Surtain, but now, hey, Surtain earned it. So next, I have Danielle Hunter. In his first season with Houston, he posted up 31 solo tackles, 12 sacks to go along with a forced fumble. So another, good year from Hunter. I mean, that's kind of what I'm pretty sure every NFL fan expected. Him coming from the Vikings to Houston, and just the way he was able to carry it over. So next, I have Myles Garrett. So Garrett always dominates every season. He's always in the race for Defensive Player of the Year. But this season, he got 40 tackles, 14 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. Next, we have TJ Watt. So Watt is consistent as well and has 40 solo tackles, 11.5 sacks to go along with 6 forced fumbles. And next, we have Zach Bond, linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, who played a really good game in the Super Bowl, by the way. And he had a career year as he put up 93 solo tackles, 3.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and 1 pick. Next, I have Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson becomes this season's sack leader as he posted 33 solo tackles, 17.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. So, incredible year from Hendrickson. Probably could have made a case for Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, they all gave it to Surtain, but I could definitely see him winning Defensive Player of the Year at least one time within the next 3 to 5 years. That's just my prediction. Next, we have Packers star defensive back Xavier McKinney. So, in McKinney's first season with Green Bay, he put up 60 solo tackles, 8 picks, and 11 pass deflections. So he was pretty much locked down all year. I mean, he's kind of everything you want in the safety. So next we have Kirby Joseph. So Kirby Joseph led the NFL in interceptions, and he posted 58 solo tackles, 9 picks to go along with 12 pass deflections. I am kind of surprised how he didn't make the Pro Bowl. I'm trying to remember if he came in as an alternate. He probably did, but yeah, he should have been Pro Bowl from the start, to be honest. Next we have Broncos star Nick Bonito. So Bonito was shining with the Broncos as he put up 33 solo tackles, 13.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 pick. So in a year where I honestly didn't expect much from the Broncos, he played a big role in their defense because their defense was actually so elite because they had Surtain and Bonito and some other players I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I can't right now. But they were able to go to the playoffs. I mean, they did get first rounded by Buffalo, but hey, they did make it. They have a starting quarterback in Bo Nix, and they might actually be a contender for years to come. Next, and the last player in this top 10, I have Andrew Van Ginkel. So coming from Miami, he was pretty solid, I would say. But in his first year with the Vikings, Van Ginkel has a career year and puts up 50 solo tackles, 11.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 2 picks. I do have 3 honorable mentions though. I do have Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, and Derek Stingley. So obviously Aiden Hutchinson is on honorable mention because he was low-key on pace for Defensive Player of the Year. That's what I would say because he was balling and then, he had a pretty bad injury. Segment 3. We have top offensive and defensive rookies of the 2024 NFL season. So I have 10 total players, 5 offense, 5 defense, obviously not in particular order once again. Starting with the offense, we have Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels wins Offensive Rookie of the Year and leads Washington to the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. He also put up 3,568 passing yards, 25 touchdowns to go along with 9 picks. So, to be honest, I did not think Daniels was going to do this from the start. Like, I knew he was talented. But him being in Washington, I thought, he might struggle a little bit, but he actually is a really good player. Next player, we have Brian Thomas Jr. So Jacksonville finds their wide receiver 1, and even with the backup quarterback and a terrible offense, BTJ was able to put up 87 receptions for 1,282 yards and 10 touchdowns. And this is all behind Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. So 3 LSU receivers leading the NFL in receiving yards is pretty incredible. To go along with that, we have Brian Thomas's and Jaden Daniels' teammate Malik Neighbors. So while missing a couple games and dealing with the terrible QB play, Neighbors was able to haul in 109 receptions for 1,204 yards and 7 touchdowns. So I believe he'll be super talented in this league. Obviously, he's shown it. I feel like if Giants just draft the right guy, and if they do get a quarterback, at least in Shador, obviously Cam Ward or Shador might go 1 or 2, so we'll see this upcoming draft. But give Giants a good quarterback, and they'll honestly be, I think, pretty good. Next up, we have Brock Bowers. So Bowers became a star in Vegas as he put up 112 catches for 1,194 yards and 5 touchdowns. So to me, he's probably one of the best tight ends for years to come. Obviously, I feel like he was the best receiving tight end in this class, and there's not really much else to say. He's just super talented. Lastly, we have Bo Nix. So the Broncos find their quarterback of the future as Nix leads Denver to the playoffs and posts 3,775 passing yards, 29 touchdowns. They go along with 12 picks. So, I mean, quarterback one for the Broncos. Broncos fans been waiting for that for a long time because obviously Russell Wilson experiment didn't work, and then they never really found a replacement for Peyton Manning. They drafted guys like Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, who are, I don't even know if they're in the league. We do have 2 honorable mentions, however. One of them is Ladd McConkey, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. And the second player, we have Bucky Irving, running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Starting with the defense now, we have Jared Verse. Verse wins Defensive Rookie of the Year as he puts up 36 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. So basically, for LA, obviously they made it to the divisional round. They faced the Eagles, they lost. But Jared Verse was balling this year, and can't wait to see what he does next year. Next player, we have Chop Robinson. Robinson puts together a very solid rookie season as he puts up 16 tackles and 6 sacks. So pretty much everything you want in a defensive lineman. In Miami, they have talent, so I can see Miami drafting another guy to be alongside of Chop Robinson due to Miami having older guys like Calais Campbell. But we'll just wait to the draft, I guess. Next, we have Cooper DeJean. DeJean wins a Super Bowl and becomes a very solid defensive back as he posted 38 tackles, a forced fumble, 6 passes defended, and even a pick 6 at the Super Bowl, which helped them obviously, crush the Chiefs 40-22 this past Sunday. To go along, we have his teammate Quinyon Mitchell. So similar to Cooper, Mitchell wins a Super Bowl and puts up 37 tackles and 12 passes defense. So obviously they got a good young duo at DB. Also, Eagles in general, they always draft well. They have Howie Roseman as their GM, and it's paying off. Obviously, they won a Super Bowl. They obviously won a Super Bowl back in 2018. They went to a Super Bowl 2 years ago, 2023, against the Chiefs. Obviously, they lost, but consistency. So the last defensive rookie, we have Brandon Fisk. So the Rams added another FSU defensive rookie as Fisk puts up 20 tackles and 8.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. So just a solid year for LA Rams rookies all around. I would like to see what he does next year if he keeps it up, because he did have 8.5 sacks. Sometimes it's hard for guys to top what they had the previous year, but I can see him developing and being very good. So honorable mentions, we have Kamari Lassiter, who's a cornerback for the Houston Texans. To me, I thought he played really well this season. And also Terrion Arnold, cornerback for Detroit Lions, also played well this season too. The last segment, we have the best NFL games 2024 regular season, not in order. So I have 3 games for y'all. The first one, I have Bengals versus Ravens, Week 10. So Ravens win 35-34. Top performers is Joe Burrow with 428 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 11 grabs for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson had 290 yards and 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry with 68 yards and a touchdown. Tylan Wallace, 3 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. And the key point in this game is that Bengals blew a 14-point lead in this game and lost on a 2-point attempt. So it was honestly a pretty wild season for the Ravens and Bengals the 2 times they played each other. Ravens ended up sweeping the Bengals. But, obviously the first time they played, I believe, was Week 5. It was a pretty high-scoring game, and there was a bunch of drama that went to overtime. On to the next game. We have Falcons versus Buccaneers, Week 5. So Falcons won this game 36-30. The top performance was Baker Mayfield, 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mike Evans had 5 receptions for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins with 509 yards and 4 touchdowns. Drake London, 12 for 154 yards and a touchdown. Darnell Mooney, 9 receptions for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the key point in this game is that even with a few misses by kicker Younghoe Koo, Falcons win in thrilling fashion with the Kadero Hodge 45-yard touchdown. The last game, we have Bills versus Lions, Week 15. So the Bills won this game 48-42. The top performance is Josh Allen with 362 yards and 2 touchdowns. James Cook with 105 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Ty Johnson with 5 receptions for 114 yards. Jared Goff with 494 yards and 5 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown with 14 receptions for 193 yards and a touchdown. Sam Laporta with 7 receptions for 111 yards. And the key point in this game is that the Bills came out firing and they beat the Lions in Detroit. So it was really impressive win. I honestly thought this was going to be a Super Bowl preview. Obviously, both teams didn't make the Super Bowl. We got Chiefs versus Eagles again, but it was kind of cool seeing the Chiefs lose because obviously they didn't get the three-peat. So that'll wrap up today's episode on recap the top NFL players from the 2024 NFL season. So we want to thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications, check out WhyTho Gaming, check out WhyTho, check out the socials, follow for more, and make sure y'all share this video. And I'll catch y'all in the next episode.